Hello. Can you hear me? Nice. Thanks, helper. So helpful. You're such a helper. What's up, lads and ladies? Thanks for joining us. What's up, Jessit? I feel like it's been a minute since I've said hi. How you doing? You got the OG NFTs. I remember those. Man, good times. That was the rebrand. The early rebrand. It is not Sunday in Australia, you liar. Are you actually in Australia, Evo? That's crazy. How many Australians are in crypto? Like literally every single Australian. Jonah, your mic is not on. You can try leaving the stage and then coming back. I don't know. Don't end the event by accident. Honestly, I have to do this pretty much every time. I, like come on and then no one can hear me and then I come back. Yeah. And if you have a VPN on, it might be messing it up for some reason. I don't know. I actually don't have my mic today. I'm just on my headphone speakers. Maybe that's better. Jonah, you're still silent. That's very strange. Try leaving the event. All right. Now Jonah's gone. We can all rip on him. He's a G. Um, all right. Well, Craig is here. Thank the heavens. And I'm just going to start talking. Um, Jonah will probably be back at some point. Hey, Samson.
Hello.
Um, so, yeah, I'm hoping I can use this event as some good fodder for some. The recording, I think, will be very useful. And have a kind of like a little bit of a tutorial or maybe like a Q&A. It's weird because all of you here are like super familiar with our products, so I don't know if this is going to be of the most immense value to all the OGs here. But I will drop some alpha. Um, and yeah, I kind of just wanted to do a little like demonstration of um, I guess minting iUSD and talk about iUSD a little bit more. Um, yeah, ELI5 exactly. It's kind of it's unfortunate because um, let's see if we can get Jonah here. It's unfortunate because Craig will not be able to record video. So maybe invite to speak. There we go. Maybe what we'll do is either either I'll just talk about some stuff and I'll record maybe some visuals things after, or I don't know. Jonah said he had some recording things set up, so if you're able to record video, that would be cool. But no worries if not.
It
And
was
I can
just
just
the
oh, there we
Craig,
go.
the same Craig
Oh, okay, all
that
right.
I had planned to record with.
All right, cool. Well, I'll just talk then, and I won't share any screenage, because I know all you guys are pretty familiar with everything. Um, so yeah, the first thing I wanted to talk about is our focus moving forward in terms of incentives and like how where we're going to be pushing. Um, I want to move, along with some other people, move some incentives away from the lending markets towards staking and towards the stablecoin. Um, and for two reasons. First of all, the stablecoin is really, really good business for us. That is like our differentiator. That's kind of our bread and butter in terms of revenue wise. Um, and money markets aren't like a great business. There's money to be made in reserve factors, but um, the like incentives spent on the stablecoin, if they get diluted, are return a lot more for the protocol. So next week at some point, we'll be sort of walking down a couple of the incentives on the money markets, and pushing those to stablecoin pools and the stability pool and the staking pool, the ICL staking pool. Um, so yeah, that's kind of the first thing. Um, and I wanted to host this because, as you guys probably know, the Velodrome pool is up. The iUSD USDC pool is up, and it got diluted somewhat, but I would like to see it get diluted a lot more. And I am talking to some LPs that are going to mint some iUSD and start farming some pools, which is really cool. Um, but in terms of like getting the rest of the community, and getting like just individual farmers, stability pool is very good yield, yeah. Um, and like I want to see it get diluted more because, to be honest, there is money on the table. And I'm looking at a Questicle when oh wait, you know what? It wasn't a Questicle. It was Urzengel. I thought about Urzengel when I was looking at like the price of iUSD right now is like $1.05. And I've been thinking about Urzengel because when Ethos Reserve first launched, he was like an insane arbor, and he had figured out the system really fast. And he was just like arbing the stable on the way up and on the way down as it was kind of finding its mark at $1. And he was like purposefully getting liquidated when it went up to a lot. And so he really took advantage of it being kind of a new stable and knowing more than the rest of the people at the time. So I would like to see the same thing with iUSD. And when I mean there's money being left on the table, like it is $1.05 right now, and you can just mint and sell it and make 5%. I mean, you have to wait for it to go down to $1, but there is, pretty much free money being left for up for grabs. And so I'm gonna make some sort of like tutorials, some more educational content. I don't know who watches them, but one user at a time, I'm going to turn everybody into Codex CDP geniuses, because there's a lot of money to be made at the beginning while everybody's still figuring it out. So the first thing is the arbitrage, and then the second thing is like Velodrome pool. For some reason, Velodrome's front end is just not loading for me. I've been trying for like 15 minutes, but the pool is still at like 90 to 100%, and it's a stable pool. Um, and like it makes me happy because I'm in the pool, but at the same time, I'm sad because it's like, bro, this is really, really good rates. And I feel like, Samson and I were talking, how can we make the carrot a little bit bigger for people to mint more iUSD? But as it stands, like the monetary carrot is huge at the moment. And I think at this point, it's coming down to people maybe being a little bit afraid to mint or not feeling comfortable because they're not familiar with the system, um, except for like our core user base that's been around for a really long time. Um, Huge carrot indeed. So I think like it's maybe this is something that we can improve, and this is something we're always thinking about, where you go to the iUSD tab on Ironclad, um, and you're looking at something, you're looking at a total collateral ratio. You're like, okay, what does that mean? You click open, you punch in some values, and you see all of these like different numbers at the bottom, and they're all useful. Like I think they should all be present, all of those different, collateral ratio, liquidation deposit, management fee, all this kind of stuff. But for someone who's new, they get blasted with all this info and they're like, oh, I don't really know what this is. I don't want to like um, you know, mess up and lose my money. But at its core, it is the same idea as using a lending market. It's the same idea as I'm going to supply ETH, I'm going to borrow USDC, because you're literally just okay. I'm going to borrow an internal stablecoin. And yeah, so and as it stands now, it's like you are going to get way higher yield with pretty much anywhere you put iUSD as opposed to like any other stable on Mode. Um, so I definitely want to work on making this a little bit more palatable for people, because I would like to get diluted. And so yeah, so the stablecoin is a huge focus for us at the moment. And any of you in the audience, I mean, I know you guys are experts already. I know Brand Tonto reached out to me and was like, "Hey, like I'll make some tutorial vids. I can put some stuff together for you guys," which is awesome. So any of you guys who want to make any sort of like educational material, or just like, I know you already chat about it in the Discord. But any new people that come in, like I want to start jumping in different discords and being like, hey, so what is preventing you from minting iUSD? Like, why do you, why are you passing up on 100% on a stable pool? And I think it is a combination of, it's a new stable. People are kind of scared of new stables because they're not familiar with the system, and they don't know how to use it. So I think those are the two things that people are afraid of. Yeah, so I mean that's kind of the core of what I wanted to talk about today. And then above that, just ramping up the staking yield and the stability pool yields. Probably not the stability pool yields yet, because it should be lower than it is now. But staking yield for sure, increasing speculation on ICL, and walking down some of the buybacks and letting the market determine a price for ICL, and then trying to raise that floor over time. Um, uh, so here I'll drop the first tidbit of alpha. This has not been decided on, but it's more likely to happen than not, and it's something we're talking about, which is making ICL available on base, specifically on Aerodrome, because Aerodrome gets farmed to absolute hell, which is really good. And yeah, so that's what we're talking about, Coop. And it also, like, I didn't even know that Mode was going to put Mode on Aerodrome. So after that happened, I was like, oh man, this like makes this even an easier decision, because it's just like following the foundation, aligning ourselves even more with the network, and exactly send a bunch, like bribe that pool really hard. And that is literally like Base just has thousands and thousands of users that just look at pools and they don't even know what the tokens are, and they just buy them and farm them. Like it's kind of like the meme coin, like um, I don't know, like, not to say I'm glad the meme coin, but like, you know what I mean? It's kind of that crowd where they just like buy anything that has like 500% APR and they just farm it. So we also have like a pretty large VE arrow position, and that makes incentives for us really cheap, and that makes building ICL liquidity really cheap. So So that's something we're considering, and I think honestly, like from you guys seem to be liking that idea. So I'd love to I'd love to do that, and we could make that happen pretty quickly. So that's the first thing, and I'm excited about that because right now, like we have an arrow position, and we're just kind of like keeping some liquidity for Oath for this migration. But it's that is way super low. Excuse me, super low impact, and it would be way put to way better use voting on like an ICL pool. Um, yeah, rather than just collecting fees for no reason. Um, yeah, so that is one thing. What else do I have here? More integrations. Um, like okay, the other reason I want to boost iUSD liquidity is because I have contacts with a couple of Oracle providers, and like for example, there is a project called Dia Oracles, or Dia Data. Some of you guys have probably heard of them. And they can aggregate a bunch of LP like DEX LPs, and give really secure prices. And if we can grow a couple iUSD pools to call it two pools at like 750 grand each, that would be enough to get an integration with Dia. And then with that, we could put iUSD in a lot of different places. Now, obviously, like you wouldn't be able to get it passed on like Aave or something. But with the Dia Oracle, you can get like a sturdy silo, for example. And you can actually, I don't know, you can do a lot more cool stuff with it. So I would really like to see a sturdy silo for iUSD. But it just requires liquidity. And I think we can make that happen. Um, I just want to smash through these blockers um, that are leaving people in the dark about how much yield they could be earning by farming iUSD. Yeah. What else? What else did I want to say? Yeah. Ichi is coming to Mode, and they are going to be integrating with Kim. Kim has some other uh, vault protocols um, that build strategies around assets. But so there's a couple. I think there's one protocol that wants to build an iUSD strategy. Um, and so what they could do is they would earn yields. It would literally they would like build their own kind of version of staked iUSD, and then we could make an LP pool with it on Kim, and they would make it like a nitro pool, and we just kind of layer a bunch of yield on top of each other. I think that's what I understood. They sent me one message today, so I was like, okay, I think this is what you want. Um, but I'm getting quite a few people reaching out about iUSD, which is really nice to see because even with you know just getting off the ground, we're getting a lot of attention. I just wish the users would realize the benefits of it as well. Another project is Bet Mode. I wanted to actually ask you guys. Um, ICL mode on base or no? Yeah, so ICL on arrow on base, and just farm it with or vote for it with our arrow position and bribe it and just build a lot of ICO liquidity on base. Get some arbitrage happening between mode and base, build up trading volume, and like I was saying, arrow users will buy anything and farm it. So that's just it's nice. It's a nice increase in speculation. Um, there, yeah, if you're talking about a base MRP, um, yes, there will definitely be a base MRP at some point. But that I feel like is kind of they're not mutually exclusive. We could have ICL on base. We could have an ICL pool on base. We could have any MRP token pool on Arrow. Honestly, just because that's where the action is. So it's kind of a somewhat of a no brainer considering we have a voting position there. Um, but yeah, I did want to ask you: has anyone used bet mode? Um, well, we don't yet. We don't bridge ICL to base yet. This is pure conjecture or whatever the word is. Just chatting about it. But we would, obviously we would integrate with some sort of bridge, and we would tell you what bridge it is. Yeah, it's not live on base. This is a future consideration, not 100% yet. Does anyone use bet mode? Has anyone tried playing some games on bet mode? It's like a gaming thing on modes. They have like a PvP game where you like bet a certain amount of assets against someone else, and then they have like I think they have like poker and like other stuff. And what they do is they underwrite people's like gambling. You know what I mean? So they have a big chunk of USDC, and they are the house. So people like make bets and they bet against the house, and the house also takes fees. There honestly might be rock paper scissors. I'm not even joking. There's a bunch of stupid like well they're not stupid but it's like very simple games that you can play. I have heard from other farmers on mode that they've used bet mode. They dig it. There's also bet base, which is a bit bigger. It's the same team. Um, so yeah, bet mode has offered to make iUSD a bankroll asset, which is the what the house um, funds. You know what I mean? So it would be iUSD and USDC, which could underwrite people playing on bet mode. Hermit crab racing. So we can do that. It would take a little bit of POL from our side, but then they're also going to be making like the house being public, so anyone could come in and be the house, which I would like that to happen before we integrate iUSD, so people could mint iUSD, go in and be the house on bet mode. And we can also use ICL on their like as a PvP asset for their game. Um, um, so yeah, that's like a cool integration. I honestly like I have no idea how much it would take off. It's hard to trying to find analytics on bet mode. I need to ask them for like their volume numbers, because like they don't have any TVL because that's not it'll just be house TVL. Like they don't that's not really how it works. People don't park assets there; they just play games. So um, maybe we'd get a lot of play there, maybe not, but I think something to it's worth considering at least. And maybe it's just worth trying it out, throwing a bit of iUSD in there and see what happens. Yeah. Hey, what else do I want to talk about? Integrations. I was gonna do the tutorial, but I'll do that. I'll record one later. Um, yeah.
the tutorial for arbitraging would be great as well. If people are
Mm, good
people, I
one.
mean, if you tell people that there's a 5% being left on the table, that makes for a pretty good clickbaity thumbnail. And then yeah,
Yeah, you're
assuming they're
right.
actually interested in figuring out how to do it, they'll follow through.
Yeah, for sure. Um, arbitrage, minting. What do you guys think in the audience? What do you think is the biggest blocker between um, users on the lending side, between them and jumping in the iUSD USDC pool? What do you think stands in their way? Do you think it's intimidating? Like, do you think the CDP is intimidating? Maybe we could clean up the the UI a bit. I know that's like huge lift for everybody. But I'm just thinking, longer term, maybe we need to have less information on the CDP, on the CDP side of things, because people see all that all those ratios and fees and different stuff, and they kind of miss the forest for the trees. Redemptions, yeah, yeah, maybe. The APRs on the Bora side for stable. Yeah, exactly. And there have been some people that have been buying it. Um, the order of liquidation. Okay, I'm writing all this down. Do a series, tutorial series. Liquidations, redemptions. Um, yeah, and I think that's definitely part of it. Equestrical. New stables are always scary. Um, yeah. Cool. This is good feedback. Thanks, Scoop.
And part of it's getting probably just more time, getting people more accustomed to the brand and the team and the product itself. Like the more time and the more interactions people have with Ironclad, the more comfortable they're going to become with using it and trying out the new features and stuff.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah, you definitely can't expect everything to happen in like 2 weeks. But yeah, things take time, and things need to get battle tested. At least they need to get perceived as battle tested, because our system has been battle tested for a really long time. So yeah, APR for supplying, but yeah, so Questicle, that's a good point, and I think like people have been buying and um and entering the pool, but people need to mint because liquidity is still pretty thin. And you buy it, the price goes up, and then they see, oh, this stable's at $1.08 or whatever. I don't want to buy that yet. I'll wait for it to go down. But for it to go down, people have to mint it. So minting is at the core of it all. Articles for sure, for sure. And we have a lot of articles that can be sort of like repurposed, reworded. We've done a lot of writing about like ERN and about aUSD, that we can rewrite. It's definitely not a lot of lift to write some articles. Really simple, straightforward articles that don't get into too much into the weeds too much. Repegged, native credit layer. Yep, totally. Articles. This is awesome, guys. This is a Forge Side Chat team. This is yeah,
A four side powwow maybe, or
yeah.
community huddle.
Can you say that anymore, Jonah? You're canceled. How dare
Shit.
you?
No, I mean, why not? That's we're showing respect. Powwows are
My
fantastic.
extreme left friends say powwow, and they're like, "Oh my god."
Is that
Um,
true? Oh, okay. Maybe I'll do my
I
research on
don't know, but yeah, I shouldn't. I should take that with a grain of salt. Anyways,
that.
for the layman to understand, yeah, yeah, for sure, Coop. Yeah, it's like it's such a hard balance to find between, okay, this is information that people need to know, and this is way too much to look at. Because like, okay, you strip everything away and you make it so easy where it's like deposit this, mint this, and then for some reason they get liquidated or they get partially redeemed, and then they come into the Discord and they're like super mad about, where was this information? I didn't read the docs, and I had no idea that this was possible. So it's like, okay, let's integrate that into the front end, and then at the end of that, and then after a couple weeks, you've got all the information on the front end, and then people are going, "Oh my god, there's so much information here." So it's a really really hard balance to find, but I think we may like the pendulum may be swung too far on the side of there's too much info. So yeah, definitely a tough thing to balance. And I could tell you that the design team, the front end team, like um, we're spending a good amount of time across all of our front ends, um, just like iterating, and trying to come to some find the perfect sauce for the front end, for like the Codex app and for all the MRP front ends. Just takes time. I forget. Do we get any ICE OSL incentive for minting iUSD? Yeah, we've considered that. Yeah, for sure. We've definitely considered some mint. Um, yeah, we'll get you in the alpha group there, Coop. We've definitely considered some mint, like rebates or incentives. Um, the thing is, like my stance right now is that, like I said, the carrot is already big enough. The fact that the stability pool is yielding like 40 to 50% for a single-sided stable, and you can farm it on Velodrome at 100%. Like it's already, I think like the monetary incentive is already there. I would like to see that get diluted before adding even more incentives, because we might just be shouting into an empty room before we get um, some of the more, like operational challenges figured out, or at least user facing challenges figured out. I do want to talk to Renzo about getting points for minting against Easy. That would be really sick. You know what? They owe me for Superfest. Um, I'm just kidding. If anyone from Renzo is listening to this later, don't kill me. Um, but I would like to get points integrated for minting iUSD against Easy ETH, um, because there hasn't been any Easy ETH deposited, and what the heck? Come on, we just figured out how to reduce the amount of redemptions with yield bearing collateral. This is the perfect time. Not many people will know about the stability pool. Yeah, that's the other thing. Like, do I want to explain? Do I want to take 15 minutes to explain the ins and outs of how the stability pool works? Or do I want to just say, look at this? It's just a staking thing. You just stake iUSD and that's it. You just stake it and you get rewards. Because that's definitely more uh, palatable.
Yeah, I think it's the
Um,
latter. I think it's the latter because it's a stable coin
yeah,
and it's a staking mechanism and it pays at this percentage, and that's
yeah,
enough for most people. And it's really if someone really wants to know the ins and outs, like they'll find that information. Like they'll be in the Discord asking questions.
yeah, yeah. And but I do think Tonto is right. There is some middle ground because the stability pool also is like how the stable is a stable. It's what keeps the protocol solvent. So that's definitely important for people to know. But I think you're both right. I think there's definitely a middle ground to be found. Um, so what I'm hearing is, just more educational material, more tutorials, more blogs. We'll try and make them as short as possible. We'll try and make them as flashy as possible. How can you make $1 million in one day? Really suck people in, and then jump into redemptions. I'll just catfish them into watching the video.
The old bait and
Uh,
switch.
yeah, the old bait and switch. Well, it is a complex product, yeah, for sure. We'll put some anime, girls on the thumbnail. uh, yeah, um, that's true. Too many simple people may think scam somehow. Pummeled on squirrel forcing. Yeah. Did he? Did he get? Did he get uh ragged on? Damn, that's too bad. I don't know why though. Like, it's the APR is correct. But yeah, that's the thing. Like, yeah, it's tough because our products are not for someone who just downloaded MetaMask for the first time, um, either. So, you know, a lot of the more sophisticated users will be annoyed if it's like, super flashy, super like salesman, like earn this crazy APR. Um, the power users who are definitely like more our demographic get annoyed by that. Anyways, I guess you know this talk is just proving that it's not an easy thing to scale in terms of marketing. Um, but yeah, that's kind of the last hurdle for us, which like scaling adoption, like the tech can just scale and the yield can scale with any sort of adoption, which is definitely the harder of the two. So, you know, um, anyways, I've been rambling for a while. I do have to go eat some dinner pretty soon, and I have to sign some transactions for Samson. If
I'll
anyone
quickly
has,
that
yeah, please,
one thing we're
please take
doing
it away.
with iUSD is that we're battle testing our new interest bearing support. So this allows us to take on collateral that would otherwise force the CDP under peg over and over again, which we see with LUSD and even ERN. When you take on interest bearing assets, users just want more leverage and more yield at the cost of confidence in the dollar. So our new system here is getting battle tested with Ironclad, and yeah, getting easy ETH more bought into that, and finding new interest-bearing collaterals to input will be big catalyst for more mints in the future. And one really positive thing is that with Ironclad, we are offering something new now with iUSD for the network, a means of absorbing a lot of, especially mode, off of the market. And the Mode Foundation is quite excited about this. They're looking to push iUSD into all these new markets. So we're just really optimistic that they're working hard on finding their way, and Ironclad's in the right position, and will continue to make changes to keep it competitive. And quite excited to finally have iUSD out. We feel like, as Charles mentioned at the start, this is kind of how the efficiency on Ironclad gets gets many multiples better than the competition when we have the stablecoin CDP platform operational. So very excited. Great
Oh, yeah,
idea,
for
Tonto,
sure.
as well.
Yeah,
Great idea.
yeah, um, yeah, for sure. It is nice to see the Mode Foundation making moves. They realize that the network has been facing a lot of like headwinds, and they've struggled a bit. So I mean, they've started like these big builder chats where they give us all a bit of alpha on what they're working on, and it's the first one was really bullish. And they made that Mode 2.0 announcement the other day. So they are it's nice to see that the devs are doing something. And like all the you know chat like the just challenges we're facing um, are pretty it's tough to grow on a network that is struggling to grow themselves, that is also trying to figure things out, because I'm sure that we can all see that if tomorrow Mode suddenly just pops off and becomes the new base, we will become an insane powerhouse, and just catch all of that those tailwinds. So um, these are like this is tough ground to navigate, and I'm really hoping it pays off. And I'm just seeing all the right kind of actions being made by the foundation at the moment, and they're definitely not just like sitting on their hands. So it's cool to see. Not to mention we have like freaking millions and millions of modes. So our treasury uh, would be bonkers if mode pops off. Um, the new maker stable SUSD. It's USDS is the new maker stable. SUSD is synthetics. I think Aquesto might have meant USDS. Um, yeah, can we all just agree that Sky is such a dumb name. Like, why did they do that? I don't know. I honestly haven't really read their new like roadmap maker. I read their end game that came out, I don't know, it was like a year ago where they announced like Maker end game. And I was like, okay, this is kind of, I guess this is kind of cool, like sub DAOs. I don't know if they've changed it since then, but I've just seen like everybody smart that I follow and talk to is just like ripping on Maker. Sorry, Sky. Um, all I know is that that's a dumb name, and I think they're just going to lose market share. Um, yeah, so we'll see. Um, yeah, I do think that USDS is a better name for a stable than DAI, but it's kind of too late, and it might be over for them. It'll be a
I
slow,
had
slow bleed to zero.
that had such like it had such mind share. I feel like
That's true. Yeah,
everyone in crypto knew Die. It was a respected
yeah,
name. You said the word
yeah.
die,
Like it's too late.
people listened
Too,
up.
too late. Like, yeah, yeah,
Maybe it's not though, bro. Maybe
exactly.
that's like the early adopter. Like, like we've been here so long, so now to us it's like, oh, it's too late. But maybe
Yeah,
to the rest of the world, it's like, no, it's still so early.
yeah. And who knows? I mean, they've obviously got they've probably got massive bags backing them in anything they do. So, uh, yeah, we'll see. Good luck, Rune. I wish you well. Anyways, guys, I've been getting on. I've been droning on for about 45 minutes here. So, we'll probably wrap this up. And Jonah, it would be awesome to get some audio clips of this. Maybe we can do something with it. In any case, um, I will start making a lot more tutorials and just spreading more educational content far and wide to everyone. So yeah, I really really appreciate all your feedback, everyone.
Especially
And
the hermit crab idea from Coop. Just want to put out there that if there's any good ideas that came
yeah,
out of this session, the hermit crab race has got to be right near the top.
yeah, yeah, 100%. Yeah, one Coop dollar for you. Um, nice. Awesome. Yeah, you guys are legends. I know you all, or at least some of you are pretty familiarized with our system. So take advantage of the iUSD USDC pool while the APR is still so high. I know that very very soon that might get diluted uh, a lot. So that's the last piece of alpha I'll share. So jump in there while you can. And yeah, we are super shipping indeed. And we won't stop until world domination. And I guess I'll close it out now. 10-minute wrapping up from Charles, the classic. Anyways, thanks guys. Thanks for coming. Enjoy your weekend. Happy Friday night for those of you in the West. And yeah, talk to you later.
See
See
you.
you guys.